In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver her child. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in bands of cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. In that region there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace among those whom he favors." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, as it had been told them. May the Lord add his blessing to the reading and the hearing of his word. And all God's people said, Amen. 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 Well, I wonder, how many of you have a nativity scene at home? I figured there would be a lot of you, and indeed there are. Some nativity scenes are huge. When I was growing up, I would see a couple places in the town in which I lived, 3/4 life-size members of a nativity scene. These were made of plastic, and they had a light bulb inside, and they would like glow at night. Most impressive. I always thought those were cool as a kid. I think they've kind of fallen out of favor now. But and then you have some nativity scenes that are small enough that they can fit on an end table in your house. And that's the kind that we have in our house. Now sometimes nativity scenes go missing. Just last year, a councilwoman in Pittsburgh discovered that a personal nativity scene, a family heirloom, had gone missing after she placed it under the city council Christmas tree. It was a crest that had belonged to her grandmother, and somebody took it. Some wondered perhaps it was a political statement, separation of church and state and all that. In Spencer, Iowa, someone made off with one of the sheep from the nativity scene at the South Park Mall. And that sheep to date has not been recovered. I guess someone is on the lam. With the lamb. Some things you just can't resist. Apparently nativity theft is a fairly common thing. Well, I came across this story. This is a story by a preacher named Timothy Merrill. He and his wife had spotted online an ad for a hand-carved nativity scene made by a Chinese woodworker. And the piece includes stable animals, Mary, Joseph, the baby Jesus, and you could either order the 8-piece set or the 16-piece set. It was priced accordingly. And the Merrills, they wanted them all, so they placed their order, and in due time the package arranged. So they're opening this thing up, and it has a stable, wooden pieces that you must assemble. So they did that, and they're unwrapping. All the figures are wrapped in newspaper, and they're getting them set up. And they realize something odd. Even as they admired the unique craftsmanship of the set, baby Jesus was missing. There was no baby Jesus. There was a manger, but there was no baby Jesus. So they searched through the box, the styrofoam peanuts and all the wrappings and stuff. It probably looked like the floor of a UPS shipping store. Still no baby. So they wrote to the wood carver. The website said the baby Jesus was included. Where is baby Jesus? And the wood carver replied that he had discontinued Jesus because customers invariably lost the little baby wood carver. Well, they asked if he would carve a baby Jesus for them, and he agreed to, although he apologized. He said, "It will take until February before I can get this to you." But they said, "No, that will be fine. We want the baby Jesus." And so sure enough, now this Christmas, they have the full nativity set, baby Jesus included. The question tonight is this: do we have baby Jesus in our scene, as it were? And not just in a nativity scene, but in our lives throughout the year. Do we have baby Jesus? Where is Jesus? Has Jesus gone missing? Or you might think of it this way: is there room for Jesus in your life right now? Before addressing that question, we might want to look at what and who we have room for in general. The obvious answer to this question would be our family, our spouse if we're married, our children if we have them, even extended family. And that is as it should be. There should be room for family in our lives. And we have room in our life for family, but it can be difficult to manage this as well as we would like. Because sometimes work and other responsibilities require us to be away. In the nativity scene, we see a family, right? Mary, Joseph, the baby Jesus, and they should all be together, if possible, as much as possible. And so should we. My, oh my, it's challenging, even as much as we value families. Now we also have room in our life for other things. My guess is we have room for television. I watch some television. Room for gaming, for online surfing, for Pinterest, Facebook, other sites. We have room for hobbies. We have room for eating out. And it's wonderful when we have room for these things, because they can be and should be blessings. All these things need to be linked to a larger purpose and meaning. Baby Jesus is the purpose and the meaning. Without room for Jesus, without that spiritual connection, without that longing to be in relationship with God through Jesus Christ, we're just doing fun things until we die and then it's over. With Jesus in our scene, our lives are suddenly purposeful. We have direction. We tag on to Jesus' value. We love what Jesus loves. We value what Jesus values. And we live for someone, capital S, someone besides ourselves. Jesus came to earth, after all, for a reason. He came to find those who are lost. He came to fill the emptiness. He came to point us to the way, the truth, and the life. He came to reveal God. He came that, as John's Gospel puts it, he came that we might have life and have it abundantly. There was an emptiness to living just for ourselves. It's no surprise, it's no accident. When people retire, so often they seek out an organization to volunteer for, an organization that serves other people, because that adds meaning to our lives. And we want something meaningful in our lives. That's the gift that Jesus brings to us, the gift of meaning. Now, for most of us who have put their faith in Jesus, the challenge comes when we have momentarily lost Jesus. Sometimes we just can't find him. We become accustomed then to living without him. We figure, well, life must go on, even though we just have a sense that something is missing. It's like we construct the nativity scene that is our life, and everything looks great at first, but a closer look reveals that something's off. We're all looking at different things. We aren't really worshiping the child, who in any case is not in the manger. We all look preoccupied, as though we're wondering what exactly we're doing. It's kind of like if you set up your manger scene at home, and you had Mary and Joseph and the wise men and the shepherds, and none of them were pointing at the manger. They're all looking off in different directions. That's what life can be like if we misplace Jesus. That Chinese wood carver, he said that many people simply lose baby Jesus. And there's nothing malicious about it. People don't intend to lose Jesus. fact, they probably made a commitment to keep Jesus front and center, where he belongs, but somewhere along the way he got lost. Now, you may find this odd, with me being a pastor and all, but December is the month when I am most likely to misplace Jesus. December, I've been thinking about that a lot this year. You consider everything that might be going in your life on in your life in December. In your work life, it's year-end, right? So you may have goals or reports, things that you have to do, budgets for the next year. In church life, it's that, if you do the kind of work I do, plus extra services. In school life, it's end of semester exams, winter concerts. Family life often includes visiting out-of-town relatives or maybe hosting out-of-town relatives. Every group that you are a part of in December schedules a party. All these are good things. They're all good things. And then there's decorating, there's gift buying, there's whatever tradition you like to do that helps make the holiday season special. Doesn't it feel like you're juggling all of these things? And then all of a sudden, you wonder, well, where are you, Jesus? I have this little nativity set out in my office, and there's only 4 pieces to it. It's Mary, it's Joseph, it's the manger, and then the little baby Jesus that goes in the manger. And more years than not, recently, I have taken to, at the beginning of December, beginning of Advent, getting that baby Jesus and carrying him around in my pocket, in hopes that I will remember what this season is really about. And, I wish I could say, this is it. This is the ticket to remember. You need to get yourself a Jesus, and carry it around in your pocket. But the truth is, no, I still find myself getting caught up in all of this stuff that's good, but it seems somehow Jesus gets lost amidst all of it.